is untidy, it is messy, it is dirty, it is different. So do sometimes expect your children to come home with a little bit of soil on their clothes, and we apologise for that in advance, but as one of our FS displays says, we apologise for the mess, but we are learning. We are learning. Ultimately, one of the things that children learn through is by doing, as Mr. Hallam said, through curiosity. You can say you're going to get wet and cold if you get your clothes covered, but until you experience that directly, you're not going to know what wet and cold feels like. And they're very lucky to be here in Dubai, because they'll probably dry within 10-15 minutes of being outside. When we get wet and cold in Britain, they'll be wet and cold for most of the day. And that's one of the first things that we experienced in Forest School, was that if you weren't wearing enough clothes, if you weren't wearing the right clothes in Forest School, you were going to be feeling the after effects of the lesson for quite some time. So one of the things that we do ask is that obviously we dress for the weather in Forest School. There's no such thing as bad weather, we say, only bad clothing. So ultimately we do encourage children to come with caps on. We will be out there for an extended period of time. So the opportunity, just one thing that we do is we ask for hats and caps so that the children can keep some of the sun off their face, so that they can learn. Ultimately, as the children are comfortable with the weather, it will mean that they are uncomfortable with the learning. We want to make them effective learners in the Forest School, so we ask that they come with hats on, with bottles, obviously, that give opportunities to drink, that we give opportunities to get into the shade. And children will choose where they're comfortable to sit as well. If they want to get more shade, they will learn to go into the shade as well. So we teach things like that. How do they make themselves cooler? So that's part of the lesson as well. What can we do? We'll also build shelters from the heat here as well, from the elements. We'll learn, just as we did in Britain, when we make shelters, one of the first lessons we do is we make shelters, because it's going to rain. Here, it's going to be hot. So we make shelters, we shade ourselves from the sun, because it's a very important part of making sure that we can be effective learners during our Forest School lesson. And it obviously is, but it was also fun, inspiring, challenging, inclusive and worthwhile. Obviously everyone, no matter where they come from, starts Forest School at the same spot. So every child has a chance to thrive, and they will have a chance to, and they will thrive in the Forest School, no matter what sort of demeanour they have and what personality, they will enjoy Forest School in their own way. So a little bit about me. I don't want to make it all about me, but it gives you an idea about where I'm from. So I'm from Stoke-on-Trent in the UK, which is a city of about 500,000 people. It is an industrial city. It used to be full of pottery banks. We used to make, we're known as the potteries. We used to make the pottery renowned throughout the world. But we're also a steel city. It was full of factories. It was full of terraced houses. It was incredibly industrial. It is not an outdoor place. It is streets, buildings. It is grey. It was, in the olden days, full of smog. So I come from that. So I'm not an outdoor person by birth, but I do enjoy being outdoors. I worked in a village school on the outskirts of Stoke-on-Trent, so I had the opportunity to be in an outdoor space when I was teaching. It was really, really enjoyable. It was a fantastic opportunity, but we didn't have a forest. We had some trees and we had some fields. We were farming land, so we had to plant 500 trees and saplings. So that is one of the things that I'm most proud of, is we planted about over 500 trees, shrubs, bushes in the process of building our Forest School. And we did all that for £500, so about 2,500 dirhams. And all that was spent on tools. It wasn't spent on trees. So we did everything for free. We managed to find one of our parents who was a tree surgeon. So there was all our logs sorted. We managed to have a parent that owned a garage. There were all our tyres for our planters. So we managed to engage the community in all our setting up of our Forest School. And that's what I need to do at Motor City as well. When we introduced Forest School, it was a new concept for a lot of the parents. We needed to engage the community, get them on board, get the parents to understand why their children were coming home with sand on their shoes and soil in their socks. It was really important that we got the parents on board, and you will, of course, be invited to join your children at some point in one of their Forest School sessions, so you can understand it better, and you can learn to tie some very intricate knots and help with shelters, and also explore our wonderful Forest School area. I've been teaching for, I gave my qualification in 2019, but I started the qualification in 2018. So it took about a year. It's a practical qualification, but also a theoretical qualification. My portfolio was 70,000 words. It was quite a lot, based on the principles of Forest School. It's based on pedagogy, it's based on teaching, it's risk assessments, which is really important. So I did a lot of risk assessments and understanding the safety of Forest School and what the risks and rewards, we call them. So obviously having a fire is a risk, but what are the rewards? In Britain, fantastic, because when it's cold you sit around it. But also it has an opportunity to be cooked on, to make you feel warm inside. There's lots of rewards with making a fire, as we know. So we do the risk and reward of everything that we do in Forest School. So that's all the background of why, my experience in Forest School. And you can see some pictures of me training up there in the woods. I did my training in February, so it was very cold in Britain. But you can see some of the elements that we learned there, and I really enjoyed it. I've been teaching for about 9 years when I trained up to be a Forest School leader. So I've got some good experience of teaching in the classroom, but it really did change my approach to teaching. It really did, going in that Forest School for a few weeks, going into the forest, spending a week in there. I really, really enjoyed it. It changed my approach. It gave me understanding of health and safety. It gave me understanding of why we do things, because it went really far back to why children do this. Why do children pile things up? Why do children move them from one area to another? Through the schemas that children have when they're developing and growing. So lots of reasons why I put a little bit about me and why I think Forest School is so valuable. For me as a teacher, it really did change me. Okay, and I think for you as parents, I hope that it has the same effect on your children as well. Okay, it helps them to grow into the people, fantastic learners, but also people who understand the environment and the nature and the world around them. So that's a little bit about myself. But I couldn't emphasise much the idea of community buy-in. We will need your support, we will need your help, and we will need your involvement. If you've got spare hats at home and you don't want to use them anymore, bring them into school. You always need those spare hats for the children going to Forest School. If you've got some old crockery, an old pots and pans, we love them in our Forest School areas, in our mud kitchens. So things like that, we want your community buy-in. If you're having a tree cut down in your garden, please get it cut into sticks. We'll have it in school because we always want more sticks. Leaves, get them backed up by your gardener. We'll have the leaves, okay, so we can explore different leaves. Because we have different types of trees in our Forest School area, but if you have a unique tree in your garden that we don't have in our Forest School area, bring it in, we'll examine it. You'll find if your children are in year 1 or 2 this week, we've been examining and identifying the trees in our Forest School area. And hopefully they'll bring home a picture with different shapes of leaves so that you can go into your community, whether that might be Tam Square, Slovenia, Damac Hills too, and you can identify some of the trees in your area. But please, if you have those, drop me an email, say, Mr. Price, I've got some sticks, can I bring them in? Absolutely, we want them. Okay, so we want your involvement, we need your involvement in Forest School, we need your buy-in, we need you to understand the principles, why your children are mucky, why are they messy, but we also need your help. Okay, we do absolutely need your help because those trees, if we cut down those trees and use those sticks, we'll have no trees left quite quickly when you've got 14 classes doing Forest School every day. But if you've got something getting cut down in your garden, please do let me know and I'll come take it off your hands. And I won't charge a thing. Okay, so it's all free.